All right, well, hey guys, welcome back to the Nerd Cave. This video is a little different. This is more of my home lab, and we're actually in my home office where I work, doing a lot of IT work during the day, and got my PC over there that I use both for work and for pleasure in editing these videos. Here is my home lab, and we'll go through the rack here in just a minute, and I'll show you what I got in there. Show you some of the services I've got, what's working, what's not working, and what changes I'm going to be making here in the near future. All right, well, I've got, we'll start here at the top. I've got a shelf here, and you probably can't see it, but I've just got a basic NVR recorder there for my security cameras. Next down, I've got a PoE switch. Really, I'm only running my access points, which are Unify access points, and my office phone off of this PoE switch, and that's really it. At some point, I'd like to upgrade this to a Unify device, but you know, it was free and it works, so I've got that for now. Next down, I've got a Unify Pro 16-port switch, not the PoE version. But I do have several 2.5 gigabit connections on here, and I've also got two SFP Plus ports for 10 gigabit on there. Next down, I've got my firewall. This is the UDM Pro, and I've also got a couple 10 gig connections there. One is intended to be used for your ISP, but my fastest internet connection here is only 1 gigabit, so I'm actually using it to connect to my other PC. And I've only got two devices that I'm running 10 gigabit on right now. Next down, I've got another shelf, and I've got both my internet connections here. I've got AT&T Fiber coming in. That's my gigabit service, my primary internet connection. And like I said, where I work from home and work in IT, I really can't go down. I've gotten some trouble before with AT&T going down for a couple days at a time, and when that happens, I'm unable to work from home, and we don't have an office anywhere nearby. So I got to bring in a backup internet connection. This is with Spectrum, and it's just their lowest tier plan. I believe it's a 100 megabit connection, but it's, if everything goes down and I stop my downloads and whatnot, that's more than enough for me to work. I've also got a Tableau and a HD home run here for hooking up to my antenna and feeding my Plex and Jellyfin service. And then down below it, we've got my server. This is an old Norco, I think it was a 4220 case. Was the name, not real important because they don't make this case anymore. But this is my main server. It holds 20 drives in here. Right now, I've got two 20 terabyte drives in there and 13 8 terabyte drives in there. The 8 terabyte drives are starting to really show their age, and some of them are starting to fail and give me some problems. I probably will be upgrading this in the near future to a, I'm looking at the HomeLab 15 right now. I'm really interested in that, and I know it has much better airflow than this case. So for those of you that don't know, I'm in Florida, and even though we got air conditioning in here, this room is usually 75 to 80 degrees just because of all the equipment I've got in here. And it's heat and hard drives don't mix, especially if you don't have very good airflow. All right, so that's the hardware side of things. I'll show you some of the software and what's going on. All right, well, this is the new board I'm going to be using. And let's see, this has all X16 slots, but only two of them are wired for X16. The very top one, and then this third one here. Everything else is actually wired for an X1, but it just has the form factor of a 16X slot, but only the bandwidth of a 1X slot. So my HBA, my disk controller will be taking this first one, because it is a X4 or X8 controller, and that is this guy right here. This is a LSI 9305, 16i, so it'll support 16 discs. I'll probably connect a couple other discs to the SATA ports on board this motherboard. I probably will connect whatever I'm using for my parity drive or drives to these SATA ports, everything else running through the HBA. And then I've got a new 10 gigabit NIC here that is an X4 connection, which will go on that third slot down. Other than that, I've got these breakout cables for the SATA card, or for the HBA card. And what these do is this will connect onto that card, and it will give me connectors for 4 drives. So that's how I'll be connecting all of those. All right, guys, so I got the server out of the rack and getting ready to upgrade it. This is that controller that I was talking about earlier. It's a super generic and janky 20 SATA ports on a single PCI Express, and there's just not enough bandwidth to support that many drives, and that's why the performance is absolutely horrible on that. So I'll be getting all this stuff out, changing it out with the new equipment, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, guys, well, welcome back. It's about a week later, and had several issues with that motherboard that I purchased. It would work for a couple times, and then I'd reboot and it wouldn't work, and seems like I just had a bad board. And ultimately I decided to go back to the Ryzen board and Ryzen platform that I had in here. So it's an older Zen 2 3900 XT-X, which is a 12 core 24 thread processor. It's complete overkill for this, but I had it around, it's working good. So what I've done, I've loaded Ubuntu server on here, mounted all my drives, then used Merger FS to join them into one large unified file system. Plex and Docker and all those kind of things are installed on here. I'll do another video with what's actually running on here and why I'm doing those things. And just to touch on kind of why I moved off of Unraid, I ran it for a while. I had it scheduled to do a parity check every month, and every single time it did a parity check, I got parity errors. And that was with new drives even, I was getting parity errors. So, you know, what the whole point of the parity is if you had a disk failure, you wouldn't lose information, you'd be able to recover. However, if your parity information is in error, you're not going to be able to recover, so it really wasn't working out for me. And the vast majority of material I had on the server, I obtained online. The only things that were really irreplaceable to me were family photos and family videos. Everything else I can get again, so long as I know what it was that was on there. So that's what I'm doing. I've set up Ubuntu on here. I've got all my media and all my photos and everything else going here. There's a daily script that will run once a day that backs up, you know, any new photos, any new videos, like home videos, up to Google Workspace. I've got about 10 terabytes there, and it does a backup of that, as well as my Docker containers and any kind of scripts that I've ran. And part of that script that runs daily also does a directory or an LS against all the different drives I've got here. It creates a folder or creates a file for each drive, so I know if a particular drive fails, what was on that drive, and I can go and get those things again pretty easily. So, all right, I'll just show you inside here, and that'll kind of do it. All right, well, this is the inside of that server, and you can see I've got here in the back an NVIDIA Quadro P2000. Of graphics card. I'm using this mostly for transcoding and Plex. It does hardware transcoding and it's completely unlocked, so I don't need to mess with any patching of drivers or anything like that. I've had this for ages. Then I've got a 10 gigabit SFP NIC here. And then a LSI, I believe it's a 9305 host bus adapter. This is controlling all my disks here. And there's two solid state drives on here each that are 2 terabyte. That's about it. We've got the Ryzen processor over here under this big ass heat sink. It's a, like I said, it's an old Zen 2 architecture, but it's a 3900 XTX. And for the type of workload I have here at home, it's complete overkill. So let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions or anything else you want to see.